Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. Beloved, hear that not as a cry sent into distances, but as an interior instruction. Ask, turn within. Seek, behold the presence already nearer than hands and feet. Knock, be still at the door of your own heart, and the everlasting doors lift up their heads. For the word comes again with royal finality, I am the Lord, and there is none else. There is no God beside me. And again is tenderness upon tenderness. I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. If he is not leaving you, what is there for you to fetch from afar? If there is no God beside him, what supply, what wisdom, what life could exist outside the I that is in the midst of you? Our first hearing of ask is often, tell God your need, but you do not tell the infinite what omniscience already knows. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. You do not move God. God is the mover. You do not persuade love. Love is eternally being itself. To ask is to awaken, to become aware that God is the supply. God, the only power, the only life, the only law. Ask consent to the revelation that the well is already within. Seek not more facts about your problem, but the fact of God as your being. Knock not with argument, but with silence. Then if prayer is not begging, what am I doing in prayer? Listening. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. That is prayer. Not words to heaven, but ears to the heart. Not thought strain, but a resting receptivity in which the I that was before Abraham is recognized as the I living here. Now, I in the midst of you am mighty, mighty to supply, to govern, to be. This listening is not passivity. It is the highest activity of the soul, the laying down of the hammer and the taking up of the harp, that the Lord himself may inhabit the praise and utter the next word. Now, just for a breath, say within yourself, I. Do not dress it with adjectives, just I. Notice it is not far off. It is immediate, closer than breathing. That I, the one before you formed the sentence, was here when the thought of need arose and shall remain when the thought passes. That I is not a petitioner. That I is the presence that answers by being. Be still and know that I am God. Not be busy and convince me. Be still and know. This, then, is our foundation. Asking is consenting to hear. Receiving is the recognition of what already is. The gift is not shipped to you from a celestial warehouse. It is the grace that was present, unrecognized, until the inner ear opened. As we proceed, let our one aim be God awareness. Leave your outline. Leave your argument. Bring only a listening heart. He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. God, God, God. Now we turn to the gentle but absolute reversal. Take no thought for your life, said the Master. Not take some better thoughts. Not take holier fears. Take no thought. Why? Because life is not sustained by your anxiety or enriched by your pleading. Consider the lilies, he adds, and with that one look, he undoes the superstition that supply comes by human planning. Beloved, many of us have taken our shopping list to the altar and have thought that was prayer. We have attempted to inform omniscience and motivate love, but God is already fullness. God, the only power of the universe. Only power. There is nothing to summon that is not already present as the life of your life. Well then, can I tell God my need? No. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. Then what do? Behold, behold God as supply. Behold God as life. Behold God as wisdom. Behold me. And be ye saved, comes the ancient word. For I am God, and there is none else. Do you hear the logic? If there is none else, there are not two God in a problem, God in a plan, God in a lack. There is I. I, in the midst of you, am mighty. Mighty to appear as bread, as guidance, as strength, as peace. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Prayer, then, is not convincing heaven to act. Prayer is opening earth to behold what heaven eternally is. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. That is the posture. Not a mouthful of argument, but an earful of God. Not an engine of thought, but the turning of the heart, be still and know. This knowing is not a mental picture we force. It is recognition. Recognition that I is here performing that which is given me to do. That grace is the rhythm of being and does not answer to barter, tears, or threats. Now, someone says, but must I not outline outcomes? The Master anticipated you. Take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, or wherewithal ye shall be clothed. To outline is to enthrone our fear as architect. To behold is to let I within be the giver and the gift. We drop our sketches on the floor of silence and lift our eyes. Look unto me. In that beholding, the inner quiver settles. The mind uncurls its fist. The imprisoned splendor finds a way out. This is the core reversal. From requesting change to beholding the changeless. From informing God to consenting to God. From pushing on appearances to resting in reality. Try it in this very breath. Turn from the picture and let the gaze rest upon I. God. 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 Closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. And as you behold, watch how grace, needing no help of yours, translates itself as the form fitting for this hour. Take no thought. Behold and live. Where, then, is this beholding accomplished? Not in clouds, not across the seas, not at the end of 100 plans. The kingdom of God is within you. Hear the prophet. Thus saith the Lord that made thee and formed thee from the womb. Fear not, I will help thee. The help you seek is not an itinerant visitor. It is I. I in the midst of you am mighty. Mighty not because you persuade it to come, but because it is the life of your life, the lore of your being, the secret well already springing up. Now, quietly, say within yourself the word I. Do not decorate it. Do not force it. Just I. Notice the nearness closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. This I is not the little ego that boasts or trembles. This I is the one who spoke. Before Abraham was, I am. It is the same I that whispered to Moses, I am that I am. It is the presence that cannot be added to and cannot be diminished, unbeginning, unending, self-sufficient, inexhaustible, ever-present. When the Master said, the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. He unmasked the secret of true prayer and true life. The doer is within. The giver is within. The source is within. Not within human mind, as if clever thoughts could save. Within being, the very I that formed thee from the womb and girded thee, though thou hast not known him. I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. Then what are we to fear? What are we to chase? What are we to outline? We have been trained to stretch our hands outward toward persons, toward accounts, toward systems, even toward a God conceived as far off. But Scripture leans us back into the heart. Cease ye from man. Put not your trust in princes. Turn within. Here, the eye goes before you to make the crooked places straight. Here, the eye performeth that which is given you to do. In this eye, there is no shortage of wisdom, no ebb of vitality, no pause of love. It is not a river dependent on rains. It is the spring that is its own supply. So we relocate our trust. We withdraw our faith and reliance from externals and consent to the one within to carry its own plan into form, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Sit a moment and feel it. I, God, 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 the same yesterday, today, and forever. As you live from this eye, guidance is not hunted, supply is not coerced, health is not engineered, grace appears as right form because the giver expresses as the gift. Be still, and know I in the midst of you am mighty, and let that I do the works. Now, if the giver is within, how then does the gift appear without? Not by mechanism, not by setting up little causes so that we may harvest effects. Grace is not a conveyor belt. Grace is a state of grace that banishes, annihilates, wipes out physical law, mental law, law of cause and effect as determinants of your good. Hear it as from the beginning. Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Not by mental pushing, not by emotional pleading, but by spirit recognized, by presence resting in itself. Be still and know. Receiving, then, is not a transaction, it is a radiation. It is not an exchange with a far-off deity. It is the overflow of the I that is here. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Again, he performeth that which is given me to do. You see the reversal? We are not performing for God. God is performing as us. We are not paying with anxiety to purchase supply. We are consenting to the natural shining of the sun, already at high noon in our midst, not by might, not by power, but by my spirit. Be still and know. Take a homely picture. The sun does not negotiate with your window. It radiates by its own nature. When you draw back the curtain, light floods the room. Did your hand create the light? No. Did your thought bribe the sun? No. You merely removed an obstruction. So with grace, when awareness rests in God, 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 the inner curtain of fear and outlining slides aside, and what already is begins to appear as form, not earned, not argued for, not bought with vows. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. The asking he honors is the opening, the beholding. Well then, how does it show up as right form for this hour, without strain and without bargains? Bread when bread is needed, a word behind thee saying, this is the way. When direction is needed, a peace that passeth understanding when storms announce themselves. Grace translates itself into the language of your day, but it is still grace, not mechanism. The outline is not yours. The performance is his. I in the midst of you am mighty. The eye goes before you to make the crooked places straight. The eye gathers the fragments that nothing be lost. The eye leadeth me beside the still waters, and there the form finds you. So our part, rest awareness in God. Retire from bargains. Cease from mental machinery. Let the heart say, Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. And in that listening, which is reverent ease and not effort, watch how silently, naturally, inevitably, grace becomes visibility, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit. Be still and know. Now let us prepare the heart for the holy work. Enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret. The door is not only wood and latch, it is the turning from appearances. Boundary number 1. Leave the problem outside. Do not bring the patient or the condition, not the ledger, nor the diagnosis, not even your righteous plan. Come not to get, come to behold. Cease ye from man, the scripture says, and that includes the man called me with all his anxious schemes. Let the door be shut. Let the gaze be single. Look unto me, and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth. For I am God, and there is none else. God the only power. Only power. Now posture, not a contortion, not a trance, upright and at ease, as one who trusts a presence greater than posture. Shoulders soft, hands open, breath unforced. The body bears witness to a listening soul. And within the ancient consent, speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Not I will speak and thou shalt sign, but speak, Lord, say thy word into thy own temple. We come empty. We come available. We come as the harp, not as the drummer. The chord is struck by the invisible. Our office is resonance. Intention is single. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stay the mind, then, not upon problem nor plan, but upon God. Simple, childlike, whole, God, God, God. Do not embroider it. Do not swiftly substitute God and my outcome. No, God alone. If the wandering thought tries the latch, when will this heal? How shall the bill be paid? Gently return to the name, God, God, God. The name gathers the mind, the heart leans, the soul listens, and in due time, quiet arises of its own authority. Be still and know that I am God. Not be still and check. Be still and know. Here is the rule that frees. Never look for results. Results are idols made of tomorrow. Look only toward God, the only power. Only power. If you find yourself peeking to see if peace has arrived, smile and close that window. Return to the altar. God. If you wonder whether a sign will appear, remember, my sheep hear my voice. We are not consulting oracles. We are abiding in the shepherd. The voice is known not by analysis, but by recognition. And recognition is born of staying the mind on God. Set your boundary of time, if you will, a few minutes, to honor the holy and honor the boundary of silence. No rehearsing, no bargaining. Let the problem wait in the hall. It is remarkably patient and will be there when you come out, though you may find it strangely diminished by the light that now accompanies you. Within the closet, be the listener only, the witness only. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. He performeth that which is given me to do. Our part is consent, posture, intention. His part is all the rest. Thus prepared, We do not strain to lift ourselves to God. We rest and let the indwelling I announce itself. Closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet, I in the midst of you am mighty. Keep the mind stayed, keep the heart open, keep the door shut, and let grace have its unobstructed way. Now, for 1 minute, let us do the simplest holy work. Let the shoulders soften, the hands open, the breath be as it is. We are not coming to think, we are coming to behold. We gather the scattered rays of attention into one pure point. God, God, God. Let the word be a soft bell in the heart. God, God, God. Not to get, but to be with. God, the only power. Only power. If a thought about the problem tugs at the sleeve, smile in return. God, God, God. As you breathe, let an ancient certainty rise and rest in you. I in the midst of me am mighty. Say it softly, not as bravado, but as recognition. I in the midst of me am mighty, not far, not withheld, closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. God, God, God. Hear the promise sounding through the centuries into this very instant. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Lean into it as into strong arms. God, God, God. Now feel into the I itself. Before Abraham was, I am this. I is my very life, my mind, my supply. This I is not a thought I hold. It is the presence that holds me. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. He performeth that which is given me to do. God, God, God. Let the syllables wash the mind like a gentle tide, carrying away plans, leaving only presence, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. God, God, God. If images float by bills, doctors, timelines do not argue. Let them pass like birds across a vast sky. Keep the mind stayed. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stay it here. God, God, God. Feel the weight sliding off the heart as if a quiet hand lifted it. I in the midst of me am mighty. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Before Abraham was, I am this. I is my very life, my mind, my supply. God, God, God. Now, as the minute ripens, let the words grow soft, as if spoken by the presence within itself. Let them become listening. God, God, God. The inner ear is opening, not to news of the world, but to the word that was in the beginning. The room of consciousness is illumined, the curtain is drawn back, there is only the one, rest there. And from that rest, with the humility of the child and the confidence of the air, let the heart utter its whole prayer in 7 quiet words. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Now we take the second step, the holy hush. For 30 seconds, no words, no shaping, no reaching. Be still and know the Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. That temple is not of stone. It is the I within you. So, close the inner door and let the heart rest, unoccupied. Do not look for a token or a thrill. Never reach for a sign. Just let I be I. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. If a thought arises, do not pet it, do not push it. Let it pass as a cloud before a steady sun. Now we enter the quiet. I will be silent with you. Be still and know there. Do not measure that moment. Do not go back to pick it apart. Whether you felt a warmth in the breast, a subtle lightness, a breath loosening, or only simple quiet with no particular mark, grace was operative. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. The imprisoned splendor does not wait for your signal. It finds its own small door and shines forth unbidden when you give it the courtesy of your silence. Sometimes it is a soft click, sometimes a sense that nothing special happened, yet something in the atmosphere has changed, like air after rain. It is God which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. The work is his. Our part is to withhold interference, to refuse to audition for results, to let I be I. This silence is not an absence. It is presence without commentary. The mind thinks it useful only when speaking, shaping, steering. But be still and know that I am God is the law of this way. In that stillness, the inner government quiets the outer clamor, and the sea levels itself without your bucket. Do you see? No mechanism, no barter, no mental pulley, only grace. Not by might, not by power, by my spirit. If nothing seemed to happen, rejoice. You were spared the temptation to idolize feelings. If something did seem to happen, rejoice and lay it gently down. Do not chase it. Return again and again to this wordless consent, and trust that the Father that dwelleth in you doeth the works, unseen and infallible. The seeds sown in silence keep their own hours. They break ground without announcement. Let the imprisoned splendor continue its shining, and walk on in quietness, certain that I in the midst of you am mighty. What then is this receiving? Do not look for trumpets. It is often a feather's touch upon the heart, a lightness where weight sat, a small click as of a latch within, the breath dropping into its own Sabbath, a quiet yes that needs no argument. After the fire, a still small voice, not a shout, not a bargain, a recognition. You become aware God is here, closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet, the same room, the same chair, yet another atmosphere, as if a window has been unlatched and the air has changed. That is receiving not something added from without, but the veils parting so that what is known. Be clear, beloved. Receiving is awareness itself, not a mental picture you squeeze into place, not a contract you propose to deity. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. The world gives by measure and demand. The I gives by being itself. The inner click is not the mind's applause. It is the mind stepping aside. It is the soul's nod to the presence that forever abides. In that nod is sufficiency. In that nod is supply unfolding, not because you have designed its route, but because the sun, once welcomed, does not ask permission to shine. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. How do you move from there? As a beholder. Do not leap to fix or to finish. Let the presence go before you to make the crooked places straight. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. You will notice the voice is not noise, not pressure. It is a restful impetus, a word behind thee saying, this is the way. Walk ye in it so gentle that ego wishes to call it imagination, yet so sure that peace attends it. Steps present themselves without hurry. The right call rises without rehearsal. The conversation that was toilsome loosens of itself. Grace has taken the wheel, and you beholding ride in quiet confidence, not by might, not by power, by my spirit. Do not confuse the subtlety for smallness. Subtle does not mean weak. It means holy. Many miss it, hunting for fireworks. But the kingdom cometh not with observation. Sometimes, right in the midst of reaching for the phone to plead your cause, the click says, wait. And waiting, a better timing, arrives unplanned. Or the hand goes to sign a paper, and the yes has not yet appeared, so the pen rests, and the next day, clarity stands at the door. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stayed, not strained. Beholder, not bargainer. After the click, release the issue and walk on. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. Do not keep peeking to see if the seed has sprouted. Never look for results. Keep the mind in its true employment. God, God, God. Let the eye within be the government upon your shoulder. And as you go, notice the hill you feared flattens underfoot. The needed word meets you on the path. The bread is on the table when the hour comes. He performeth that which is given me to do. Receiving feels like this quiet, sufficient directive, and it leaves you with one testimony, simple and sure. I, in the midst of me, am mighty. Now, because grace has whispered its quiet yes, let us turn and look tenderly at the images that still attempt to frighten. The balance that says not enough, the body that says not well, the mind that says not safe. Beloved, these are appearances, suggestions in human thought, not facts in God. God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. If there is no darkness in him, then lack, fear, and disease have no jurisdiction in the realm of I am. They may appear on the screen of the senses, but they are not substance, they are not law, they are not life. Thou art of purer eyes than to behold evil, says the prophet. And the apostle adds, the Father of lights is with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning, no shadow, no fluctuation. Then where do these shadows live? Only in the twilight of human beliefs. Consider our old friends, the snakes and the pink elephants. In dusk, a coiled rope seems a snake. The heart races, the breath quickens, the stick is raised, but when the lamp is lit, the snake cannot be slain, because there never was a snake. There was only a rope and a frightened imagination. So with pink elephants sighted by the mind under a spell, counsel and combat are useless, for one cannot reason a fantasy into sobriety. The spell must lift. Spiritual sight is the lifting of the spell. It is the lamp brought near. God, God, God. When the lamp is present, what becomes of the snake? It becomes rope. What becomes of lack? It is revealed as God a supply already present, though unrecognized. Do you see the way? We do not fight appearances. We behold reality. We do not bargain with darkness. We turn on light. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Not I shall not want when the check clears. I shall not want because God is. Because I in the midst of me am mighty. When a claim of fear strides in, do not arm wrestle it. Do not preach at it. Be still and know. Rest the mind in God, the only power. Only power. God, God, God. Let the heart stand in the unchanging. In God there is no shadow of turning. and the picture begins to lose its hypnotic glamour. The threat that felt tall becomes insubstantial air. Practice it right where the claim appears. A bill in the hand. Say softly, not as magic, but as recognition. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. Then turn from the figures, and behold, God, God, God. A report that announces disease. Answer not with panic nor with prognosis. Answer by withdrawing faith from what God does not know. He sent his word and healed them. Bring in the lamp. Rest in the word. Closer than breathing. Nearer than hands and feet. The light does the dissolving. Not by might, not by power, by my spirit. And as spiritual sight awakens, you will notice the shift. The picture of lack yields to the fact of God as supply. The valley was only shadow, and I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Where fear shouted, peace stands. Where numbers accused, sufficiency quietly appears. Where pain clamored, presence pronounces its own wholeness. We do not manufacture these outcomes. We witness them as light translates truth into form. Keep the lamp near. Keep the gaze single. Be a beholder. And as you behold, the spell lifts of itself, and you walk on in the simple certainty that I, in the midst of you, am mighty. Now comes the tender relinquishment. Having seen that shadows do not govern, we withdraw our faith from the lampshades of this world, people, procedures, provisions, even from a God we have imagined as distant, and let trust rest in the eye that is here. Cease ye from man. Put not your trust in princes. Hear also the wisdom that has never aged. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not into thine own understanding. To lean on understanding is to make our plan an idol. To acknowledge him is to let the indwelling I be government. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Here is the practice spoken plainly. Drop the patient and the condition. Leave the problem outside the door of your inner closet, and, beloved, leave the plan as well. Do not carry a stretcher of symptoms into the temple. Do not carry a blueprint either. Enter to behold. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. This is not passivity, it is consecration. We are not neglecting duty. We are surrendering doership. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. He performeth that which is given me to do. Say it softly now, as a hand laying down its tools. I release the condition. I release the outline. I, God, God, God. The I within me goes before me to make the crooked places straight, not by might, not by power, by my spirit, saith the Lord. When the urge to manage surges, emails to send, hands to press, outcomes to force, let the gaze return to the one. Never look for results. Looking is measuring. Measuring is fear in a suit and tie. Be a beholder. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. I recall a morning when the ledger shouted and the mind reached for the telephone to arrange rescue. The inner word whispered only, wait, be still. Against habit, the hand withdrew. God, God, God. 2 hours, no plan, just presence. Before the sun set, without campaigning or commotion, an old account settled itself and bread was on the table. Did silence dial the number? No. Grace translated itself into form. When obstruction my plan was laid down. He performeth that which is given me to do. Withdraw your reliance, then, from externals and even from your finest outline, and rest it in the eye that is closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. Keep the mind stayed when the question rises, how will this come? Answer it with scripture, not strategy. I will go before thee and make the crooked places straight. When the thought inquires, is it working? Smile and return. God, the only power, your reward will be a quiet confidence that needs no stopwatch, the gentle government of peace replacing the twitch of management. You will find yourself moved, not driven, guided, not guessing, sustained, not striving, and beneath it all, the simple testimony that ends argument and begins life. I, in the midst of me, am mighty. Let us bring this holy beholding into the streets where bills arrive, where bodies speak, where conversations fray. We do not change methods. We apply the one method of God awareness to every arena. And here is the simple key. Translate every need into a quality of God already present. Not, I need money, but God as substance is present. Not, I need healing, but God as life is present. Not, I need this person fixed, but God as love is present. Then listen and let grace show its own form. My God shall supply all your need according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus. The riches are not out there. They are the I in the midst of you now. Take a small protocol you can carry in a pocket watch. 30 seconds of God affirmation. 30 seconds of holy silence. Then act or rest as led. Settle the heart. God. God. Name the quality of God relevant to the seeming need. Substance. Life. Love. Wisdom. Say it softly. God, the only power. Only power. Then, 30 seconds. No words. Be still and know. Speak, Lord. Thy servant heareth. Afterward, do the next simple thing that arises unpressured. Even if the thing is to wait, he performeth that which is given me to do. Finances. A bill waits. Do not inform God of figures. Light the lamp. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. God is substance, inexhaustible, indivisible, already here as this very I. God, God. 30 seconds of silence. Be still. Now, you may find a quiet nudge, reconcile an account, release an unnecessary outflow, send a note long delayed, or you may simply discover a settled heart that moves on its way. Grace will translate itself into form at its hour. An unexpected remission, a forgotten credit, right work revealed, not by might, not by power, by my spirit. A symptom declares itself. Do not carry it into the sanctuary. Carry God as life. I am the Lord that healeth thee. The spirit of him that raised up Jesus from the dead shall also quicken your mortal bodies. Life, life, life. God, God. 30 seconds, holy hush. Be still and know when you rise, you may be led to rest, to take a simple step of care, to refrain from anxiety's compulsion. The life that is your life is self-renewing, self-governing. The click may be warmth or only a soft trust. Either way, never look for results, walk in peace. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Relationships, conflict simmers. Do not attempt to sculpt another's heart. Behold God as love, the harmonizing presence that is one life in all. God is love. When a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him. Love, 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 God, God, God. 30 seconds silence. Then, as led, speak a soft answer, or hold your peace, or send a word of honest kindness without strategy. Watch how love rearranges the scene without your hammer. The edge rounds off, an apology appears, or the urge to be right dissolves. In all, remember, you do not tell God your need. You awaken that God is the supply already expressing. Name God's quality. Listen, and let form arrange itself by grace. Closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet, I in the midst of you am mighty. Guidance is the same grace wearing the garments of time and step. Decisions stand before you, this way, that way, now, later, and the old habit is analysis upon analysis until the soul is thin and the hour is late. Beloved, shift from analysis to assurance. Hold the whole matter in the light without strain. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Not acknowledge and then design. Acknowledge and be directed. Bring the fork in the road into the sanctuary of I. God, the only power. Only power. Be still and know. Here is your simple protocol. Take the choice job, journey, word to be spoken, and set it gently upon the altar. Do not argue its merits. Do not groan over its risks. Name God's nature as your guide. Wisdom, light, peace. Say it softly. God, God, God. I will instruct thee and teach thee in the way which thou shalt go. I will guide thee with mine eye. Let those words rest you. 30 seconds of beholding God, God, God. Then close the lips and listen. 30 seconds holy hush. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. When you rise, move only on the inner yes. If the yes is not there, do not force a substitute. Wait in quiet confidence. The I within me goes before me to make the crooked places straight. Not by might, not by power, by my spirit. How is the yes known? Not by fireworks, not by adrenaline. The markers are ease, inevitability, absence of fear. The shoulders soften, the breath settles. The step feels as though a path has been rolled beneath your feet. Doors open without your knuckles bruised. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. The voice is not a push. It is a peace that passeth understanding. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts. If peace does not rule, then no rule has been given. Wait upon the Lord. He that believeth shall not make haste. I recall a Tuesday when a contract gleamed like polished brass. Every line sang to the mind, but the inner ear heard only a quiet, not yet, wait. Against habit, the pen rested. God, God, God. By Friday, a clause appeared. Hidden, cost, heavy yoke, and with it, a different door stood open of its own accord, simpler, clean, and timely. No wrestling, no campaign, only a path discovered underfoot. Another morning, I reached for the phone to rescue a schedule. The word within said, walk. On the corner, at an hour I would have missed, a friend hailed me with precisely the connection needed. You see, ease, inevitability, absence of fear, doors open without forcing. If the world shouts urgent, and the inner yes is quiet or absent, do not be stampeded. Do the next ordinary duty in peace. Wash the cup. Answer the honest email. Rest the mind in God and hold the decision in the light. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. Return to the protocol again and again. Brief contemplation, brief silence, then move or wait only by the inner yes. Timing is holy. It is part of guidance. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Let the eye within lead you, step and hour, with the gentle government of peace. Acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. And as you go, carry one quiet certainty that ends the debate and starts the walk. I, in the midst of me, am mighty. When the need presents in another child, friend, stranger, you are not appointed fixer, you are called beholder. Where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them. Not in the midst of our outlines, not in the midst of our diagnoses, but in the midst of I am. So, when the call comes, resist the well-meaning impulse to inquire. How long? How bad? What stage? That is reporting to sense testimony. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment is beholding the Christ of them. I in the midst of thee am mighty. Drop the patient and the condition. Let the name go. Let the chart go. Let even the hope go. Enter the inner closet empty-handed, for the presence fills the temple when the furniture of fear is moved out. God, God, God. Not their sickness and God, not their trouble and God. God the only power. Only power. Only power. Be still and know. He sent his word and healed them and delivered them from their destructions. Let the word go forth, not as a sentence crafted by mind, but as a living awareness. The Father that dwelleth in them, he doeth the works. Before Abraham was, I am in them as their very life. Sit in quietness and confidence. No phrases now. No mental pulling at their limbs to make them straight. No imaging them better. That is interference. That is witchcraft with a Sunday hat. Be a beholder. God, 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 30 seconds, a minute. As let holy hush. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. The temple is within you, and within them one life, indivisible. Wait upon the Lord, not by might, not by power, by my spirit, saith the Lord. Then release. Do not measure. Do not report. Do not peep under the soil to see if the seed broke. Never look for results. If they ask, how is it going? You can answer truthfully. Grace is present. God is here. And leave it in quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. The presence performs its own works in its own way, in its own hour. He performeth that which is given me to do, and to you, and to them. I remember a night when a mother phoned, little one fevered, breath shallow, fear loud. The tongue wished to ask for numbers. The spirit said only, be still. We said no more than, I am with you. Then I withdrew into the inner room. God, God, God. I in the midst of thee am mighty. Christ in you, the hope of glory. Silence, a soft click, like a latch. Peace settled. We spoke no further. Before midnight, the call returned. Not fanfare, just a quiet. He's sleeping. The heat has passed. Did I do something? No. The sun shone when the curtain was drawn back. Grace annulled the appearance. So, when others come Come yourself as an empty chalice. Behold their true identity. Ye are the temple of the living God. As God hath said, I will dwell in them. Refuse the bait of outlining, diagnosing, reporting. Keep consciousness stayed on God alone. Sit in holy stillness until the inner government takes its seat. Then walk on without audit, in the serene assurance that the imprisoned splendor has found its own way out, and that I in the midst of thee is and remains mighty. Beloved, let us make this not an occasion but an atmosphere. Pray without ceasing, says the apostle, not a ceaseless mouth, but a ceaseless ear. 3 simple touch points will keep the inner ear open. Morning, midday, evening, short and sincere. In the morning, before the foot touches the floor, pause. When thou prayest, enter into thy closet. The closet is inward. Whisper, not for God's sake, but for yours. God, God, God. Be still and know that I am God. 30 seconds of beholding, 30 seconds of holy hush. I in the midst of me am mighty. Rise, not with a plan, but with presence. At midday, when the world is busy stitching you into its calendar, unhook for a minute. Close the inner door. God, the only power, thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stay it. Half a minute is a lifetime in grace. No fixing, no bargaining, just listening. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Then return to your task, not driven but carried. In the evening, before sleep, lay the day upon the altar. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. Name no failures, count no victories. Release both. God, God, God. Holy hush. Let the imprisoned splendor tend the roots while you sleep. Now, beyond these 3, let life ring the bells. Use the ordinary thresholds as calls to the sanctuary. Before a call, 10 seconds, be still and know. Before a meal, 10 seconds, behold, substance as God, not as calories. Hand on a doorknob, 10 seconds, acknowledge the eye that goes before you to make the crooked places straight. Before you start the engine or step onto a bus, 10 seconds, my presence shall go with thee, and I will give thee rest. Before you press send, 10 seconds, let the peace of God rule in your heart. Little bells, little hushes. God, 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 no grind, only grace, not by might, not by power, by my spirit, saith the Lord. Do not strain to keep score. Heaven has no stopwatch. If you forget 9 times and remember once, rejoice you remembered. If the thought comes, oh, I missed my morning, smile and take your 10 seconds now. The yoke is easy, the burden is light. We are not building a tower of minutes to reach God. We are letting God be God, closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. Begin once or twice, and you will find it becomes 3 times, and then you are joyfully hooked. Yes, hooked, not on effort, but on ease. Not on method, but on presence. Keep it light. If you catch yourself tightening the jaw to be holy, soften and laugh. Serve the Lord with gladness. Let these mini-sits be kisses, not contracts. Windows cracked to the breeze, not barricades. Return often, briefly, gently. Morning, midday, evening. Calls, meals, doors, vehicles, bells to remembrance. Make listening your atmosphere, and you will discover that guidance, supply, and life themselves have taken the helm. He performeth that which is given me to do. Be still and know and walk on in the quiet certainty that I in the midst of you am mighty. Now, because we are making listening our atmosphere, certain little weather patterns will appear. Dryness may come. Hurry will knock. The old accountant of results will rattle its abacus. Fear will whisper its statistics. Do not be surprised. Do not fight. Meet each with the same gentle fidelity with which you would hush a child at night. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I, in the midst of you, am mighty. God, the only power. Only power. Dryness first. You sit, and there is no sweetness, no warmth, only wooden minutes. Stay anyway. Grace is operative beneath sensation. Roots grow in silent soil. For as the rain cometh down, and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, so shall my word be. You may feel nothing, yet the word waters where you cannot see. Do not judge the vineyard by today's breeze. Keep the appointment. Keep the inner door ajar. God, God, God. Be still and know. The sun stands whether or not the curtain is thin. One morning, with no drama, you realize the curtain is gone. Hurry next. The world cries. Now, quickly! You reply, not with longer sentences, but with truer silence. Shorten the sit. Deepen the sincerity. One God-breathed minute is enough. He that believeth shall not make haste. Better a single honest bow before the altar than 10 distracted prostrations. If the bus is coming, place your foot on the curb and your heart in God. God, God, God. Speak, Lord. Thy servant heareth. A minute of holy hush outweighs an hour of anxious talk. Not by might, not by power, by my spirit, saith the Lord. Results fixation is the old overseer with a stopwatch. Beloved, never look for results. Look to God only. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. The seed does not sprout because you pry up the soil. The loaf does not bake while you keep opening the oven. Close the door. Let grace do its work. He performeth that which is given me to do. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. When the thought inquires, is it working? Answer softly, God is. Then return to your rightful occupation. God, God, God. And if fear arrives, do not argue with it. Let promise speak. Fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name. Thou art mine. I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. Whisper these not as charms, but as recognition of presence. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet, rest the mind in that. Only power, only presence. So we go on, gentle, faithful, unhurried. Dryness cannot cancel grace. Hurry cannot drive the shepherd. Results cannot govern spirit. Fear cannot enter the Holy of Holies. Keep the door ajar. Keep the small appointments. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. While you rest in God, grace works. And as you walk, this one certainty steadies every step. I in the midst of you am mighty. Beloved, we have listened together. And in that listening, a simple truth has grown clear. Prayer is not informing God. It is consenting to hear. Ask, said the Master, and the ears of the world thought, request. But the ear of spirit knows. Ask means turn within and listen. Receive means recognize what already is. Before they call, I will answer. And while they are yet speaking, I will hear. You see, supply was present before the word. guidance present before the fork, life present before the symptom. Our part is not to persuade the invisible, but to recognize the indwelling I that is already here as supply, as wisdom, as life, and to let grace flow unobstructed into form. So hear the word that seals this hour. Behold, I make all things new. Not, I will make after you have managed. I make now as presence reveals itself. And again, lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Always when the desk is full, when the house is quiet, when the road bends, I in the midst of you am mighty. I am that I am. God, the only power, closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. Let these not be decorations to thought, but the very air you breathe. Now, a little consecration you can keep. Tonight, before sleep, give 60 seconds to contemplation, 30 to holy silence, and then quietly proceed with your evening without inspection. Sit, close the inner door, whisper, God, God, God. Take no thought for your life. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Let the mind rest in the fact, I in the midst of me am mighty. God, the only power. Then 30 seconds, no phrasing, no outline, holy hush. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Rise and do the next simple thing. Wash the cup, fold the shirt, turn out the light without peeking for results. He performeth that which is given me to do. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. And in the morning, walk forth in I am. The I within you goes before you to make the crooked places straight. My presence shall go with thee, and I will give thee rest. If a decision meets you, acknowledge him and wait for the inner yes. If numbers glare, behold God as substance. If a body speaks, behold God as life. Not by might, not by power, by my spirit, saith the Lord. Doors will open of themselves. The path will roll out under your feet. Peace will rule the hour. Be still and know that I am God. Take no thought and walk in peace. This is our charge and our joy. Live today by listening. Keep the small appointments. Let grace be the government. Let the indwelling I carry you in effortless grace. Behold, I make all things new. Lo, I am with you always. And as you go, let this certainty steady every breath and guide every step. I in the midst of you am mighty.